Dolton Thursday evening as Chicago's former mayor, who was hired to investigate Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard's administration, revealed a shocking spending of taxpayer dollars.
Drama in Dolton. Credit card transactions amounting to thousands of dollars without explanation and millions more owed to vendors.
A bombshell report highlights just how much financial trouble the village of Dolton is in.
They say the village is facing financial disaster and they blame the mayor for mismanagement. She says this is all just political.
Residents of Dolton and Thornton Township, long aware of their community's financial difficulties, were stunned by revelations from former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot that uncovered a fiscal crisis far worse than anyone had anticipated. The area is now mired in millions of dollars of debt, a situation that has worsened over the years. Frustrated citizens have called for Tiffany Henyard, mayor of Dolton and supervisor of Thornton Township, to step down, but their pleas have been ignored. Henyard has shown no remorse or willingness to address the mounting accusations of corruption, favoritism, and financial mismanagement that have plagued her time in office. Instead, her administration has become a lightning rod for controversy with claims of embezzlement, misuse of taxpayer funds, and reckless decision-making overshadowing any positive contributions. Despite widespread outcry, Hen's apparent indifference to the concerns of her constituents has only fueled resentment and distrust. The announcement of an FBI investigation into her conduct has marked the turning point, sending shockwaves through the community, which had long been accustomed to broken promises and political theater. Evidence of Hen's actions continues to mount, painting a grim picture of governance where personal agendas have consistently taken precedence over the public good and allegations of lavish spending.
From multiple sources that federal agents are in fact interviewing witnesses as part of a possible investigation that may or may not result in charges.
Controversy surrounding Tiffany Henyard escalated as she became the target of numerous complaints, with some of the most troubling allegations coming from business owners. These owners claimed their establishments were unfairly targeted and shut down simply for refusing to support political events backed by Henyard. The accusations painted a troubling picture of an administration accused of leveraging power for personal and political vendettas, rather than fostering a thriving local economy. Business owners describe an atmosphere of fear and retaliation where refusing to align with the mayor's agenda could lead to sudden unjust regulatory actions, including arbitrary fines or outright closures. These actions have strained the relationship between Henyard's administration and the business community, deepening public distrust. Critics argue that such behavior reflects an abuse of power, prioritizing personal political gain over the economic vitality of the businesses that contribute to the town's prosperity. The ripple effect of these actions extended beyond the business sector, with residents expressing outrage over the apparent disregard for fair governance and ethical leadership. Hen's detractors cited these incidents as further evidence of an administration that consistently places self-interest above community well-being, fueling growing calls for transparency, accountability, and her removal from office.
Or retaliation. Both of the Dolton bars that were raided and shut down last night, we visited the day before as part of our ongoing investigation into allegations of political corruption in Dolton.
They just rushed in here, put police at the front door like they was doing a raid on the drug houses.
A team of Dolton police officers raided and shut down Pablo's Bar and Cafe and Rinky's Bar and Cafe, both located uncivilly about a block apart.
Everything going peacefully. Nothing going on. It's like 10 police cars came in and they start pushing customers from here. And he said, if you don't leave, we're gonna...
The controversy surrounding Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard intensified as employees and business owners accused her of an ongoing campaign of harassment that has cost jobs and money. These business owners claimed their licenses have been stripped by the village, yet they continue to operate under state jurisdiction as the situation grew more tense. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot was appointed to investigate the alleged illicit activities of Henyard. This decision marked a critical turning point in the unfolding saga, and Henyard's reaction was swift and combative. Her administration seemed determined to undermine Lightfoot's efforts from the start. Henyard's immediate strategy was to deflect responsibility. She attempted to shift the blame for the escalating issues facing Dolton and Thornton Township onto the village trustees. This move not only deepened the existing divisions within local government but also further alienated Henyard from an already skeptical public despite mounting evidence of mismanagement and corruption. Henyard continued to deny any wrongdoing, portraying Lightfoot's investigation as politically motivated and designed to tarnish her reputation. However, Heng's deflection tactics began to lose their effectiveness as Lightfoot's investigation uncovered a pattern of financial mismanagement and corruption directly tied to Heng's administration. The investigation revealed a troubling landscape filled with questionable financial practices, unexplained deficits, and a series of financial irregularities that pointed directly back to Henyard. However, Henyard continued to dismiss the findings, characterizing the inquiry as a personal attack on her leadership. As Lightfoot's investigation progressed, it became clear that the mayor had misused taxpayer funds for extravagant expenses, justifying them as community improvements.
Chaos. Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard at the helm of the village's first packed meeting since Dolton trustees passed a resolution last month requiring her to turn over the village's financial records and asking the FBI to investigate her alleged misuse of village funds. The mayor admits to a $2 million deficit, but trustees.
Tiffany Henyard's attempt to involve the FBI in investigating her behavior was both audacious and ultimately embarrassing, shedding light on the fragile dynamics of her administration, likely trying to assert her innocence or shift scrutiny away from local investigations. Henyard proposed federal intervention. However, the Board of Trustees swiftly countered her proposal with a decisive majority vote to override her veto. This action starkly displayed the growing rift between Henyard and local government officials, highlighting the board's lack of confidence in her leadership for many residents. Henyard's call for the FBI's involvement seemed less about seeking truth and accountability and more about a calculated attempt to control the narrative. Critics viewed it as an act of desperation designed to deflect attention from mounting allegations of corruption, financial mismanagement, and ethical breaches that had come to define her time as mayor. The decision to override her veto not only reinforced the trustees' resolve to maintain local oversight but also underscored Henyard's increasing isolation within the corridors of power. The optics of the situation were particularly damaging. Henyard's proposal to invite federal involvement was interpreted by some as an implicit admission of the severity of the issues she faced. At the same time, it was seen by others as an attempt to shift the focus to a higher authority away from local accountability. The swift and decisive vote to nullify her veto sent a strong message of defiance, rejecting what many viewed as a futile and misguided maneuver. This episode added another layer of controversy to an administration already embroiled in scandal. Henyard's attractor.
The veto message is related to the secret scrutiny, yes, that the Board of Trustees have.
The trustees vowed to override her veto. One of them, Kiana Belcher, sitting at the meeting with her portrait because she says it was removed from the wall of Village Hall.
And this is just a process to drag it along, but everybody sees what's going on.
The village, under Henyard's leadership, is cracking down on access, pushing media at tonight's meeting to the very back of the room, almost out of sight of public comment from residents. But their voices were loud and clear.
Everybody cares about the person that's making the mess.
Henyard placing the blame elsewhere.
But only judge when you got both sides of the story, not one side narrative, which is negative narrative.
Village, under Henyard's leadership, Access is cracking down on pushing media at tonight's meeting to the very back of the room, almost out of sight of public comment from residents, but their voices were loud and clear. Everybody he is but a person making a mess and placing the blame elsewhere, but only judges when you got both sides of the story, not one side narrative, which is a negative narrative. Under Tiffany Henyard's leadership, the village is cracking down on access, pushing media to the very back of the room during meetings, almost out of sight from public comment. Despite this, residents' voices were loud and clear. You lie to us as residents, you do not stand for me. And I want you to step down as mayor today and save our village from this deficit that you caused, one resident exclaimed. Another added the mayor can blame everybody for what's going on, but she has to look at herself. Nobody told her to get on TV and act like that. Everybody cares except the person making a mess and placing the blame elsewhere. But you can only judge when you hear both sides of the story, not just one negative narrative. Henyard has consistently portrayed herself as innocent, dismissing criticism as prejudice against black women. However, she has refused to respond to questions regarding her infamous trip to Las Vegas, where she allegedly spent thousands of taxpayer dollars on lodging, meals, and airline tickets.